Welcome, everyone, to Cultivating Voices Live Poetry today. My name is Kim Ports Parsons, and I'm here subbing for our dear and beloved host and founder, Sandy Yannone, who cannot be with us due to a training she's participating in. It is our wild card open mic for the month of May, and Un unlike our usual wild cards, we are adding in another dimension, a very poignant dimension to our program today. We are honoring and remembering and celebrating our friend and fellow poet and leader in poetry, grand poetry citizen, as Sandy might say, David Brydges of Canada. David was a very active member of our group and a very active member and leader in poetic circles in Canada in multiple locations, friend and colleague of many of our other members who knew him through those venues. And we have two special ways we're going to honor him at the beginning of the program. And then we're inviting anyone who's reading today in the open mic or from the waiting list, if you in any way want to um, share something reflective of the spirit of that, you're very welcome to. And if not, that's okay too, because all poetry would be a celebration of David's most beloved occupation. So um, I am doing the duty, friends here in the Zoom with me, of both Sandy as host and myself as the manager of the logistics of the poetry list and so on and the order of the program. So I thank you for your patience with me. And I will not be able to take further names for the list for today. It will just become too complicated for me to pay attention to what's happening. So we're going to repaste the first 5 readers into the chat so that you are aware of who's, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Let's try again, Kim. We're going to paste the first 5 readers into the chat so that you can be kind of prepared to take your turn. But before we turn to our reading for today, let me say a couple of quick pieces of business and introduce our clips that we're going to share. Number one, if you are reading anything that is very serious subject matter, such as, describing war or violence or something very graphic, we consider it a courtesy here to just let people know. Content warning, I'm going to be talking about World War I in the trenches. And that way, if the person listening really needs to protect themselves for whatever reason, they can lower their volume for that reading and turn it back up when they see that you've finished. It's just a courtesy to everyone. It's not meant in any way to censor you. Secondly, we invite everyone to give lots of love and support and feedback to each other in the chat. And many of you are accomplished poets with books out, with reading series you support. Please feel free to share any poetry information in the chat as we go throughout the program today that you would like to. Um, I think that's the basic announcements. We want to thank so much everyone who came out last week for our amazing new book showcase and the unbelievable um, quartet we heard. It was just amazing. And we look forward to next week. We have a little break at the end of May, the fourth Sunday. We have no program, but then we'll open June with a wonderful Poets Focus on prayer. And I'll tell you more about that when we get to the end of our program today. So without further ado, Don, I believe you have queued up and ready to play Sandy's video clip for all of us. Yes?
Oh, no, I have the other one.
Okay, I have Sandy's. I'm happy to do that.
Great, great.
Let me open it up and then I'll go to share screen, everyone.
Hi, everybody, and I hope you're all having a good Sunday or whatever time it is for you or day it is for you. Well, today for me is Sunday, May 18th. And a couple of weeks ago, we lost a dear member
Speaking
of
of
our
that, we're
community,
doubling up.
David Brydges. He was performing at the Edmonton Poetry Festival in Canada and having a glorious, glorious time. If you go to his Facebook page, he was writing about how he had been meeting people that he had only been online with, meeting them for the first time, and truly reveling in the fact that he was reading in public for the first time since the pandemic. And sadly, he passed away just as he was preparing for a haiku workshop. Well, my joy in meeting Dave came here through Cultivating Voices live poetry, as it does with so many of you. This is how we've met each other. And I truly valued his contributions to our poetry community. He was a consummate participant in the open mic. It truly brought out his passion for poetry, his love of poetry, his love of humanity, as well as his curiosity for life and a true wit about him that he had. Anyone that was in his presence, even in these little squares, couldn't help but enjoy his company. And I certainly will miss his. Dave and I had a number of conversations, including often after the program. We would stay in what I affectionately call the green Zoom room, the green Zoom studio. Sometimes we'd talk for hours. Those of you who sometimes are in those rooms, you know what I'm talking about. And two things truly come to mind that I've been thinking so much about lately, and what's going to lead to the poem I'm going to read. Dave, one, last year had a conversation with me about how much he really wanted to have us work together to bring more Canadian writers to Cultivating Voices. And one of the ways that we had been talking about doing that even before that conversation in a much more intentional way was to replicate something that he had done in Canada called the Poet Train, where he and a group of people traveled across the entirety of Canada from east to west on a train, writing poetry. And the development of that was this anthology called the Poet Train Anthology, a collection of train poems by Canadian poets. And there are the beautiful Canadian Rockies there. It was edited and compiled by Fran Fig. I hope I'm pronouncing Fran's name correctly. And Dave has written the foreword to the collection and the introduction, as well as has a poem in the collection. Dave and I had been talking very actively about, he sought me out and he said, would you be willing to do this with Canadian and US poets? And we would take the train from New York to Chicago, all the way across to San Francisco, doing readings in Chicago, in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, when we would get off the train. It was very exciting, very dynamic. We had some folks here in who I hope are with us today that were interested in participating in potentially even coming on that trip. One of them was Catherine Ronan, so it was truly going to be an international train extravaganza. Well, we put it on hold once. We put it on hold twice after the election, because even though we had enough time to plan it, Dave could feel the sentiment of poets in Canada not feeling safe coming to the United States, concerned about things that might happen in terms of crossing borders and things of that nature. So we put it on hold again. I'm hoping now in his name to, at some point in the future, do that train ride, create that train situation, create that bridge that he had so hoped to create, using the lens of cultivating voices and using something as simple as a train ride, people writing poetry together. So in honor of that, I want to read the poem that is from the Poet Train anthology, I Am a Train, by David C. Brydges. I am a train carrying 11-year-old northern boy in Toronto. I am a train whose forever spirit name is Journey. I am a train traversing wilderness of words. I am a train seeking headlights of truth to stay on track. I am a train whistleblowing for a world derailed. I am a train conductor of a rock and roll symphony. I am a train hurtling steel into snow-tracked space. I am a train geography's constant artistic visitor. I am a train giving Group of Seven a painted gift from a Lake Superior lone pine tree canvas. I am a train beast who bloodies many a moose. I am a train hearing ghosts of horses galloping. I am a train defiantly romantic on once CPR and CN Continental tracks as memory caboose rusts. I am a train passing Winnipeg train station railway museum, where the pioneering engine, the Countess of Dufferin, who arrived in 1877, rests in a silent shrine. I am a train flattered by a pink evening prairie sky. I am a train terrifying herds of buffalo. I am a train near Blackfoot teepees, fire pits, buffalo bones, babies awakened not by raven's caw, but a new horizontal flying machine of progress. I am a train of black-only porters with decades of blistered reminders, lifting money-class suitcases. I am a train on Fraser Canyon, shadow side of the Rockies, where hard-working Chinese named coolies die blasting those tunnels, and one returns to Chinatown as a one-armed dishwasher. I am a train blowing a quintessential long whistle. I am the Canadian train riding the roots of a nation forged by the rail and its way. I am Pacific Central train station coastal breezes as Vancouver seagulls away to North Shore mountain music. My journey is over. Yours will never end. For there is no last spike in a poet's heart. Well, to that poet's heart of David Brydges, I send you all peace and love, and thank you so much, dear David, for what will be the enduring memories now that I have and will hold with me in my heart forever. This is Sandy Yannone. Have a great reading today, everyone. and we'll see you in June.
Beautiful. So beautiful. That poet's heart. Well, for our next clip, Don has queued up a very special moment in my memory of sharing with David. A couple of years ago, we had a Poets Focus in December 2022 on stars, and it was cosmic to say the least. Some of you were there with me, and David read an amazing poem during that Poets Focus on Stars, titled Black Hole Breakthrough. And so, Don, if you could please cue that up and we'll hear from David himself.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm kind of starstruck by all the poetry tonight. It's been great being saturated with a thematic event of poetry. This poem goes where stars go to die, but that's only part of the story. Black hole breakthrough, a fractured spectacle. This phrase is from Seeing Through the World, Jean Gebser, and Integral Consciousness by Jeremy Johnson. Every true theorist is a kind of tamed metaphysicist, Albert Einstein. It was an historic scientific feat. 12 years, 200 scientists worldwide. Telescopes in Arizona, Hawaii, Mexico, Chile, Spain, Antarctica, France, and Greenland. 8 radio telescopes were aimed at one heart of the Milky Way galaxy, another 54 million light years away in supermassive cosmic space. Called the Event Horizon Telescope, based in Waterloo, Ontario at the Perimeter Institute. Scientists hope analyzing 2 years of data, the black hole shape and shadow, will corroborate to Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity. Black holes mysteriously suck in dead collapsed stars to boundaries of no return, matter destroyed by the gravitational vortex. Is it God's graveyard? On luminous horizon of immeasurable mystery, I stand on the cosmic doorstep with non-local spiritual archetype companions. 1 foot below on earth, another rises above to the heavens, seeking levels of reality from unseen dimensions. I invoke the Egyptian high priest, Amenan, who is master of the secrets of heaven, wears leopard skin cape, whose spots are painted with stars. Ancient wise voices remind, look beyond, past the physical realm, not to gaze out, but in. Live the dynamic dance of twin worlds, spirit matter web. A psychonaut whose telescope cannot measure marvel. Only intuition sees psychic quest for wholeness, opens to ravens' primal prayer. Reborn stars' circle of light saturates, sanctifies interminglings. Infinity embraces imagination's galaxy to know more, to see and hear more. Dwells in a fathomless depth, interior being, whose mediating language breathes blessedness into the real, speaking through the world to nowhere and everywhere.
I'm sorry, let's all unmute for just a moment and show our love and warmth for David with a round of applause. Infinity embraces imagination's galaxy. David, we honor you today.
Bravo.
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 On that cosmic
Bravo.
train journey of listening to David's poems today is really amazing. Okay,
Mhm.
everyone, we will all mute again now and we'll proceed with the open mic. I had shared the first five readers. We're going to begin with Harvey Soss. Everyone, a gentle reminder, one or two poems, 5 minutes or less. Less is fine because we will make room for the folks who are on the waiting list at the end. And when we get to the end of our first poet's dozen, which is the first 14, we will then go to one poem each, and I'll warn you about that. But I probably today will not be able to put up everybody's name. I will put up 5 names at a time so you kind of know when you're coming up. So we're going to hear from Harvey, and then we're going to hear from Nayma. Okay, take it away, Harvey.
Okay. I just note in passing that David was kind enough to join us at Artful Dodger's Poetry on occasion, and he will be missed. The theme of this poem is somewhat somber and at the same time commemorative, so perhaps it's apropos. How we say goodbye in times of plague. In the Jewish religion, the inscription on a grave marker is kept covered for approximately 1 year after burial, which traditionally occurs on the day following death. The covering, perhaps a bit of muslin tied on with a string, is later removed at a separate ceremony, the unveiling. Of course, extreme circumstances may interfere with this timeline. It is a daft wind, a butcher's apprentice, that wears on its apron raw smell of butchery. Certain post-messianic microbes geysered out of a cleft in the rock of ages with increasingly pandemic force. Enlist an army of carriers, butcher boys and girls, symptomatic and asymptomatic, to cut the strings of any meat puppet caught hanging about, regardless of whether he or she is last-born or first-born. An upgraded 10th plague. Not even a blood X on the lintel can be counted upon to keep us safe. We pray as we have prayed before. We die as we have died before. And when we ask for just a little more time, another turn or two around the clock face, we find that our old friend, the hourglass, has been superglued to the floor. How then could I or anyone contest your not pausing the 1 year, more or less, tradition demands between the burial and unveiling, choosing instead to default to practicality, knowing that by this time next year I could be burying you, or you, me. Time, and it doesn't take Jules Verne's time machine to tell us this is not on our side. Housebound, we are constrained to watch with you the uncoupling of body and soul via screen share. Your MacBook Pro able to see and follow the soul rising, making a beeline for the collective consciousness. Now zooming in on an inscription, exposed in marbled nakedness, the muslin which hid it having been trampled underfoot, name, dates of birth and death, beloved husband and father, what anyone who knew him already knew, how important he was to us and to you. You pan to a pair of gravediggers, face masked and gloved, leaning on their shovels above your father's simple wooden box with ingrown nails, pacemaker on pace to be installed where the earth's heart fails, surgical unionists, debating the comorbidity of life and death, standing by while you toss a few clods in and speak a few words, Yiskadal Yiskadash Shemay Rabal, nothing we haven't heard before, certainly not after almost 6,000 years of graveside praying. The onslaught of Masada moments we have somehow survived. Still, we can't help but be concerned about the increasing numbers of our tribe, known primarily by block and lot, their headstones tipped out of plumb by haters who would deny them and all who seek them the refresher course comforts of memory. No pauper types here, but no 1%ers to be found either, such as the worthies entombed at Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery in luxury hotel comfort those of us who employ hamburger helper can't afford. Perpetual care inclusive of room service. Wildly expensive mausoleums where mismatched Leonard Bernstein and Frank Sinatra co-headline eternity, a marriage of maestro and mafioso. Your father, for all his belovedness, never having earned as Frank and Lenny did, his place on a stamp. The diggers know that when you're through screening for us his burial come unveiling, they can break for lunch, waxing the harvest moons of their bellies, full as those holes they've dug today. The cemetery grounds Swiss cheesed with them. Stay-at-home relatives and friends, not wishing to be organ donors yet, hide from successive rounds of whack-a-mole. You're trusting this on-site broadcast won't kill you, having, as the diggers have done, put on nitrile gloves, a sterilized perspective. Abjuring, as Job once did, self-distancing. Believing it your duty to mensch the short straw, to run a gauntlet of reflexive anti-vaxxers of the RFK Jr. type, shielded only by wet wipes and a prayer. Supported by our crew of high-res pallbearers. We see in you that man we never saw, but hoped for at your bar mitzvah, saying goodbye with a mumbled mourner's Kaddish, what little Hebrew you recall, a ceremony that might have been drawn from the imagination of Hieronymus Bosch, with a world-encircling virus penciled in, microbial Ouroboros, squeezing the life out of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. Wow, a deep matter, as they say, squeezing the life out of us. Thank you for your poem and for getting us started on the open mic today. Next up, we have Nayma Chamchoun, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, followed by Clive. And folks, I will try to share sort of the next 5 names that are coming up as I go. Remember, I'm doing both Sandy's job and mine, so I probably can't engage in too much chat over here. I need to just focus on the hosting. So thank you, everyone, and you're so very welcome if you're joining us today for our open wildcard open mic for May. So go ahead, Nayma, and then we'll go to Clive.
Thank you. I'm going to share 2 short pieces. Insomnia. In the torturous throes of the restless hour, the wakefulness I hungrily devour, plagued by sleeplessness, the onerous onslaught of ricocheting thought, defeated by hopelessness, a spark of jade at the watchtower, the crackle of searing paper, inching towards rest, the demons it arrests as in somnolence tapers the bitter earthy timber, a harsh rush to the throat, picture yourself on a boat, a sly, paper plane, kimber, a divine Buddhist quest, relinquishing earthly attachments, a sanguine sea of detachment. Sleep beckons, smartly dressed. The weariness of the body seeps softly into the mind. Thoughts halt with a grind, tripping as we tip the toddy. Then, in jagged valleys and steeps, middles with no beginning or end, contemplating solutions, forgetting the questions, white rabbits smile and descend down dim pits, infinitely deep. The slither of a dream warmly ushers me in. The sleep that I seek, the saviour I greet. Thank you. And the second piece, Venus della Menopausa. She sits, the coal shrinking from the flame, watercolours of radiance spilling down her cheeks. She wilts, camouflaging the roots, exposed by the tides of time, colouring outside the lines, the emperor's new suit, her brushstrokes paling, flight from the barren land, opaque blooms of nothingness, the final unveiling, twisting the garments until their dyes run out, the fabric worn, washed up and washed out, hung out to dry, battered by the wind, still clinging to the line. To let go is to drop the kite string, life chiseled into sculpture, each fleshy flaw amplified, the spotlight abaft, a woman unmasked, Venus put out to pasture. Thank you.
Mesmerizing reading, Nayma. Wonderful imagery. Thank you so much. And next we go to Clive.
Hello. Okay, so it's uncharacteristically short and serious from me today. None of my usual nonsense. But there is a trigger warning for this, for the situation in Palestine. And I do mention, this is not a trigger warning, this is just a statement. I do mention somebody called Jeremy. For those not in Britain, I'm referring to Jeremy Corbyn, the last leader of the Labour Party before it sold its soul. So, it's called I'm Not a Politician. I'm not a politician. Never have been, never will be. I lack the necessary skills, you see. I was never one for diplomacy, and lying through my teeth is not for me. Political belief courses through my veins, but money and power are not my aims, and I'm not interested in personal gain. I just want hope for those facing pain of poverty, injustice, persecution. I want a peaceful resolution, a non-violent revolution, but will not live to see the day. What can I do? I wouldn't want to be torn apart by media moguls, those hawkish bastard ghouls who do the bidding of the wealthy and destroy what they see as the enemy, like they did to Jeremy. I'm too sensitive for that. So I'm not a politician. Never have been, never will be. I couldn't win the vote on a pack of lies, then plunge the knife in the back of allies. Are you listening, Sir Keir? How can your conscience cope with what's happening in Palestine? Your open support and arming of those committing genocide, the turning of blind eyes. I couldn't sell my soul like that. So I'm not a politician. Never have been, never will be. Thank you.
Amen to that, Clive. But we're glad you're a poet and that you came to spend time with us today and share that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When I despair, I turn to poetry, and I think David would second that and third that and fourth that. So thank you so much. Okay, next up we go to Mona Zamfirescu, and then following Mona will be Linette. So take it away, friend Mona.
Thank you, Kim. I just wanted to echo everyone's feelings. I'm very saddened to hear about David's passing, and I really am at a loss for words. So I was just I wanted to read a haiku written by David just to celebrate David. Winter wind shakes moonbeams off branches. Winter wind shakes moonbeams off branches. That was David. And I would like to read a couple of poems, if I may. First one is called Ode to Moss. In the beginning, there was you, from algae to land, 450 million years without roots, your filaments able on hard rock, in mineral soil, disturbed soil. You who inhabits the logs, the burned stumps, the bogs, on cliff seeps, waterfall sprays, you unassuming. In cracks between paving stones, slippery on damp Singapore streets, on roofs, a garden weed in Vancouver. You, cosmopolitan. You, the carbon-soaking sidewalk moss, water-soaking the small light of shade. You, holy aquatic citizen of the marshes. You creep in the slow-moving waterways to become more of yourself. You travel across continents with the ease of unseen things, soft and smooth. Your velvet green measures the air. You survive desiccation, extremes. You return to life like a sponge that sucks up moisture in thin air, like us, an immigrant. An immigrant. An epiphyte on cedars and oaks, you green balm, you antiseptic swathe, you feel the bandages of the wounded, the long history of devastation. Here, the luxuriant green growth points to the boreal tundra, where you warm reindeer blood on its Arctic journey. The sudden living advises, questions. Is it hurting the grass, this primitive? Will it disturb the civilized manicure perfection? How to get rid of moss in your lawn? After long winters, I come into the woods to touch the down trees. I find you here, holding the soil with your fragmented colonies. I find you mothering the understory. We, immigrants here, we meet. Do I have time for one more? Okay, short one. The end of days does not come with a bang. Like the grass that comes back every year, though everything is stacked against it, slow, deliberate, 5 women move air. Their eyes are fixed onto a distant point. They are here, spacious without words. Towering over them, the sky rises and bare ginkgo trees, which came, as we all have, from somewhere. In Madison Square Park, traces of green line the alleys. Winters, the Tai Chi women practice every day in the drain fountain where all paths meet, a few feet lower than the rest of us, citizens of coffee and news. We slalom past each other, people and things. Garbage pick up, the food tracks at every corner. Yes, now there's spring to talk about, new hyacinths and daffodils, fresh, alive, and people in or out of troubles they can't name. That's how you know we're all going somewhere nowhere else can. We, immigrants, in rage, despair, silence. On my way, I remember the old country, fear, the only safe tongue, the wooden tongue. We went about our days, ghosts on our ways to work, as if we were living. I too crowd the streets, the elevators, like many. I feel their doors close, an airtight lock on this collective coffin, up to my own private afterlife. I make room for this woman, or she makes room for me, neither of us young. Her hands are elegant, swift like new grass, green yarn coil on her fingers. The crochet hook stitches in and out the pulse of the day. Her eyes fixed on her work, counting. I want to tell her she's beautiful. The elevator ride is long. We are quiet. It's 9 a.m. somewhere. Imperceptibly, we go on living.
Yes, we go on living. Absolutely beautiful poems, Mona. Thank you, and sharing that perfect haiku of David's. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we are having our usual glorious orchestra of poetic voices on one of our wild card open mics. Here we are in the month of May, and we've just heard from Mona Zamfirescu. Next, we hear from Linette Rabsett, and after that, Terri Cohlene. And I'll put a little reminder of the folks coming up with Terri soon. So take it away, Linette.
Thank you, Kim. First, I'd like to just say condolences to Dave's family at this tough time. I pray that they are comforted at this time. And then I'm going to share 2 pieces. The first one is very short. It's based on a prompt that I got from Accessibility page. It's called Velvet. I want to be red with hints of blue because your smile tells me I love you. I want to be like cotton, yet I am tightly woven seamlessly together like you, hard to be forgotten. And then the next piece is if I wrote you a song. If I wrote you a song, you may still find a way to say that I was wrong. I would sing to your greatness because I think your talent is limitless. But you are so broken and only see yourself as a token. I would rhyme about your passion, your great taste in fashion, even though you lack confidence and don't understand the power of your essence. I would still chant your name because I see you as the same great and wonderful person who is more than deserving of the admiration I have for you. I would rap about your truth and romance the mic in words that are both soft and hype, an ode to your intelligence, which I constantly reference and share with everyone I know because I only want to see you grow your self-esteem so that you can achieve your dreams. I write you this song today to say that. I love you. And that poem is dedicated to every poet, everyone who's listening. We love you. Keep sharing your talent. Thank you.
Well, I'll amen to that. Cheering each other on. Cheering each other. The world needs more poetry. Sing your songs, right? Thank you so much, Linette. Beautiful. And next, we're going to go to Terri Cohlene, and following Terri, we'll hear from Isaac Cohen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It's so much fun to be part of the wild card. I don't get to be wild that often. Today is my birthday, and I thought I would read a poem about something that happened 45 years ago. It's called Chasing the Volcano. All it takes on the day you turn 30 is for Mount St. Helens to erupt, spew ash across Washington state, send mud flows to the Pacific, level a forest like so many toothpicks, to forever change the way you celebrate your birthday. Ever since that day when your husband refused to go to the kiddie parade and instead took the boat out by himself, the day you wrecked his car and he forgot to give you a present, that day in May is no longer about you. It is instead about remembering daytime darkness, volcanic plume, deforestation, a fine dust everywhere. Thank you. And I have one more. It's called Grief Bakes a Pie. I have a new housemate. Ever since the election, grief has moved box by box into my guest room. Now there she is, taking up all the space in my kitchen. She's sneaky, sips all-purpose flour, salt, slips in the lard when no one is looking. For flakiness, she insists. Adds ice water, chills. The filling sounds tasty. Eggs, egad, $8.49 a dozen. Butter, sugar, vanilla. But then comes the lemon, twice what the recipe calls for. Tears and aromatic bitters. Not enough sugar in the world to cover that. There is a knock at the door, and I realize the pie is not for us. Grief welcomes her sisters, anger, fear, sadness, her little brother, hopelessness.
Wow, Terri, great. Great imagery there. And that last line in the first poem, a fine dust everywhere, has layers of meaning for me as it keeps sort of blowing around in my mind, right? Great sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
And next we go to Isaac Cohen, and Isaac will be followed by Nicole Schnitzler. Take it away, Isaac. You're still muted, Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. Dear Kim, dear Don, dear all my friends. I'm so sorry to hear that David was died. David was a great poet, and David many times encouraging my soul. Rest in peace. Cohen. Love, my darling, you sculpt me. I am reborn. And second. Wait a minute. Yes, Cohen. Azure of hope. My mind painted the sky with water of hope. The future tried to jump beyond the earth to the throne and won. Okay. So that's all. Thank you, Kim, and thank you.
Thank you,
Emerson.
Isaac.
Thank
I love your simple messages of hope and love always, Isaac.
Yeah,
Thank you. And peace to you, my friend.
Yeah.
Stay safe and well.
Yeah.
Well, we are enjoying our wild card open mic today. Next up, we're going to Nicole, and following Nicole will be Kristie Williams, and I will put that list up in the chat, and we will continue to hear some fantastic poetry. Thank you, friends.
Thank you all for the space here and for the chance to share some poetry today. I have one piece here. Oh, here we go. At the Museum of Science and Industry, my brother Daniel asks for ice cream. He clicks his tongue, hums his song, holds his transitional objects as we move, so as to move, room to room. We pat his back, tell him there is no ice cream here, only the other things we can recall within these walls of our youth. Fairy castles, model trains, peach fuzz chicks. Until just beyond the cobblestones of yesterday's Main Street, our brother Kevin spots it. A door now closed, walks to it, opens it, spills us into the past. Dusty room of remembrance, abandoned, prayerful. Its soda fountain mirrors, unaged but yearning. Its bar stools, forever too short. What is it that awaits us before it departs us? On the outside of memory, 3 orphaned children peered back at themselves, watched through the haze of yesterday, how they brandished spoons for sundaes, root beer floats, like the sound of their mother's voice, always above the spinning stools, dizzied comebacks for seconds. Thank you.
Wonderful. Nicole, it's so lovely to have you. I think it's your first time with us today. Please come back again and share with us again and listen. We have so many great programs here on Cultivating Voices, and it's wonderful to have you with us. You're very welcome. And you took me to the ice cream parlor in the museum in Washington, D.C., yes? Is that what you were recalling?
It's actually the museum in Chicago,
Oh,
Museum.
no kidding.
So since which is of course since closed now, the soda fountain. But
Well, I had a parallel childhood experience in a museum at the Smithsonian, and it really was like, wow. So thank you. Okay, thank you so much. And you're very welcome, and please come back. Okay, we go on to Kristie Williams, followed by Beth.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to read a poem that I'm going to try to get through today, but I feel that it's really important. I just got this poem published in the Mid-Atlantic Review, and they were amplifying disabled voices. For those of you who know me, I'm a quadriplegic with cerebral palsy. And when I lost my daddy, my world turned upside down. I didn't get to say thank you, and I didn't get to say I'm sorry. So I hope this poem does that. This is called And Before I Arrived at After. And before I arrived at After, I didn't know you were their safety net. I was a non-entity. You're something to be crafted into a what they could handle. And when you left your body, mine loomed large, required duty. Denial whispered in darkness, assumed I couldn't hear. Don't invite her, shine in their eyes. Supposed I couldn't see who she's gonna ask. In the thin-lipped silence of my questions left hanging, now I know you protected me for my daddy, John, father of a daughter living with quadriplegia and cerebral palsy. Thank you.
So much applause. What an extraordinary poem, and so powerful to hear you read it, Kristie. Thank you. Your poetry is always wonderful, and that one is so riveting. That pairing, when you left your body, mine loomed large. Wow. Such writing, my friend. Congratulations on the honor of participating in that publication. And please come back and read for us more and more. We go on to our friend Beth, followed by Dianne, and we are coming to these will be our last four featured readers, 5 minutes or less, and then we have a good number of folks on the waiting list to share one poem with us in the time we have left. So I think it's going to work out that everyone will be able to read. So take it away.
Kristie, I don't know how I'm going to follow you because I'm going to be reading from my latest book, which is called The Yellow Notebook. When my dad died prematurely, he left behind a pencil-scrawled notebook after a 10-year battle with chronic heart disease. And I wrote a collaborative hybrid interweaving his words with my poems. And so I'm going to read that, and also a dedication to Dave as I read. Okay? Whoa, Kristie, stay with me. Dave's basement. Bare bulb strung on a wire from the floor beam overhead. Crawl space hidden from the upstairs noise. Illuminated like the back of the closet behind the clothes. Decayed leaves, the smell of warped wood. Barely enough space for his rotting bench. My mother's old fruit jars arranged on 2x4s, circling the cinder block. Each jar labeled by his craftsman's hands with the permanence of black ink. 3-inch nuts, 1/2-inch bolts, lug nuts, studs, the jars packed against the stone-wet walls, now pitted with sand and dust, abandoned in rows, like the 40 pill bottles on the dresser beside his bed. And the last two, one's a haiku. It's called No Time to Mourn. 2 years after my father died, I heard a song over the car radio. The leader of the band is tired, and his eyes are growing old. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. I pulled over and cried, called out to no one for the first time. Those of you who know that song, it's from Dan Fogelberg's song, an homage to his father. And the line continues, Kristie, but his blood runs through my instrument, and his song is in my soul. And the last is very short. It's a haiku. It's called December 2021. Matchbook cover closed. Candle of remembrance burns through my window. Snow.
Thank you so much, Beth. Absolutely beautiful. And it's funny how it happens that you two read together in sequence today. I mean, there are no accidents, it seems, in this world. The poetic connections and the human connections that we amplify for each other in a community space like this. It's really very moving. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Kristie, so much. And we will close our featured poets today with Dianne Knox, followed by Billy Brown and Jude Marr. And then we'll move on to our waiting list folks, which are in the chat. And Kerry, since Julian had to go, we added you on to the end of the waiting list so you can have your poem ready and be part of this after all. So thank you, Dianne. Take it away.
I'm going to miss David so much. He was so personable and kind. This is called Heavy. The Rock's translation came to me as sand comes to shore, resting in waves. What is so powerful it carries boulders as lightweights? Nothing in nature pushes like water. Nothing in nature pulls like you. And this one is a tragedy that happened this weekend. So I guess a warning. Kayak and life vest found safe. The orange Coast Guard chopper floats with filmy clouds in an otherwise blue sky, surveys the shore for what is out of place. Does he see a person floating in sunglasses, a hoodie, rain gear, backpack, possibly a hat? Ty called 911 on an ordinary 3 o'clock Tuesday afternoon of fishing from his kayak in the strait. Ty reported himself drowning. My little family was in our outdoor room, Puppy nestled between his people after finishing his greeny treat. We remarked at how low the helicopter was flying and close to shore. Seems Ty was the typical outdoor young Pacific Northwest man out enjoying. Prayers have all been sent, awaiting response. Thank you.
Prayers have all been sent, awaiting response. Thank you so much, Dianne. Really moving work today, everyone. And we go to Billy Brown next. Welcome, Billy. Possibility Brown, as Sandy says.
Hello, everyone from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Since since Sandy couldn't hold one up, here's a joker for our wild card reading. I'll mention that on Tuesday, I will have a birthday, and let's see who can guess what it will be. The number of my age will be a fourth power of a whole number. And obviously, 1 to the fourth power is not my age. But last Saturday at the Albuquerque chapter of the New Mexico State Poetry Society, one of our wonderful poets in New Mexico, Donald Levering, gave a presentation, a workshop, and he focused us with prompts beginning with the word if. So I have a few if comments based on that workshop. If we could travel at 1,000 times the speed of light, how long would it take us to reach Alpha Centauri galaxy? If I were 15 years younger, would you want to be with me? What if I bought you a shiny new red Mercedes convertible sports car? I had 2 dreams in my life. One was to be an opera singer, one was to be a professional golfer. If I was an opera singer, as Don Giovanni, in España, I would have 1003. As Rigoletto, I would seduce Gilda. As Faust, I would sell my soul to the devil to be young again. I would save my sweetheart from Scarpia. I would cure her from consumption. If I had become a professional golfer, I would win the US Open, the Masters, the PGA, and the British Open. I could hit my drives 325 yards. I would have a dozen holes in one. And finally, a longer contemplation. If I were a cottonwood fluff floating above a river, I would wish to be treated with water-resistant silicone so that I would not sink to the river bottom, never to reach you. I would take an enormous breath, blowing forcefully downward, to throw myself higher into the wind to reach you more quickly. I would want lightning to strike and incinerate me so that an hour from now, you would taste me on your lips. You would inhale my ash, and I would circulate with your blood into your heart. That was fun. Thank you. Oh, may I just mention one thing about David Brydges?
Sure.
He was signed up to read at one of our fixed and free readings, and he misjudged the time, Mountain Time versus Eastern Time, so he was 2 hours late. That didn't work, and then he signed up again to read, and I think it was only a couple of days after his death that he was planning to read with Fixed and Free. So we missed him at Fixed and Free, but I always admired his poetry on Cultivating Voices.
Yes. Thank you, Billy, and thank you for all you do to create community with Fixed and Free. It's a beautiful space, and thank you for your wonderful, playful poem. I love the ending image of right into your heart. That's just beautiful, Billy. Thank you. Okay, so we will move to Jude Marr as our last featured reader, 5 minutes or less, and then we will go to the waiting list, beginning with Laura and Ken in that order, 1 poem each. So thank you, Jude, and take it away.
Well, I will try. I have to say that the concert abides. So can you all hear that? And if you can, is it going to bother you?
No, you sound great, really. Your
Okay.
voice is nice and clear.
They've turned it down a bit since earlier, so hopefully it'll be okay. It's been going on for about 4 or 5 hours now, not the same performers. So I don't know what they're celebrating, but I hope they're having fun. And I'm going to just read 2 fairly short poems. I did the 30 for 30 challenge in April this year, and these are 2 of the poems that came out of that. They're still, I guess, works in progress. In the Botanic Garden, the azaleas are blooming, lurid pink and shameless as they attack my nasal passages. They remind me of Florida, of a tiny blue cottage and an orange cat that belonged to no one but seemed to like my company. In the Botanic Garden, where plants purr under the soft feet of bees and age-stained stone benches endure in dank corners. Amid the gothic of it all and the hot pink azaleas, I sneeze. And I find peace that is unearned in the presence of a stricken tree, split open and exposed, clinging to life by the roots. Those who tend to the garden have tenderly propped the split tree so that it rests almost horizontal on 2 wooden posts. The guardians have also placed a small rope fence around the tree's hollowness. To preserve the dignity of age and injury among the azaleas, the camellias, the soaring trees, and now the tree's crooked limbs are budding again, new leaf among the old moss, and the tree has no choice but to live. And this one's called The Oldest Living Thing on Earth. The oldest living thing on earth may be a patch of seagrass growing in the great green, the sea we know as Mediterranean. Long before people, long before we gave names to bodies of water, oceans of seagrass danced with tides or slept under ice, salt and bright. This seagrass has known empires in the keels of ships, bodies drifting downward, lost in silt. This seagrass, salt and bright, what's rooted endures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jude. Beautiful. What's rooted endures. So much beautiful poetry today, everyone. Next up, we have Laura Felleman, followed by Ken Burch. And we're in our waiting list now. 1 poem, 3 minutes or less, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Greetings from Iowa City. I want to give a content warning. This poem was written in reaction to deportations without due process. So if that is triggering for you, please take care of yourself. International travel at no cost to you. If us feed you, us books won't balance. Honduras is providing free meals. Us fly you there directly, nonstop. Your medical bills busted us bank. El Salvador has many doctors. Us reserve an appointment for you. Your cheap salaries drain us accounts. Colombia wants new laborers. Us schedule your interview today. Your kid's school was deprioritized. Mexico is filling a new class. Us put in a few good words for you. Second language signage is costly. Panamanians speak like you do. Us arrange an introduction soon. If us house you, us budget will break. Costa Rica has free room for more. Us transport the whole family now. Okay, it just feels good to give voice to my protests. Thanks for listening.
Well done, Laura. Wow. I wrote, the menace of that us repetition. Wow. Really powerful. Wonderful work today, everyone. Let's continue. We have Ken Burch, followed by Mary Ellen Talley and Giulio Magrini. Take it away, Ken.
Hello, it's good to be here, everyone. It is a sunny day here in Olympia, and this is a poem I wrote in honor of the passing of the son of a friend of mine, and this young man passed at a very young age, 34 years old, for reasons I don't know for sure, but choose not to ponder. I will use it today in a slightly revised version for David. If you had not been you, if you had simply not been, nothing else, no one else would have been what they were, what they might have been, could have been, would have been, less than what they were, less than what they are, less than what they should have been if you had not been, if you had simply not been. The days of those who were there to celebrate what you were, what you could have been, would not have been the best of what they were if you had not been, if you had simply not been. The sun on this warm afternoon in an East Portland tiny house where I write this on a short trip would not have been what it was, what it is, the rain and the wind outside the place where the small, swift-made poem is being read would not have been what they are, what they would have been if you had not been, if you had simply not been. And the days ahead of us now to be shared in different ways, in different spans, will be both better than they might have been because you were here, less than they could have been because you are now where fate took you. And in all who knew you for years, for days, for even hours, what you were, what you could have been, what we now must find the way, what we must be now. You will always be the light you could be for the rest, and nothing can be or will be what it would have been if you had not been, if you simply had not been. Thank you.
Wow, Ken, thank you so much. You have this such a singular way of using language structure to move around and collage your subject, and it's very powerful if you simply had not been. Thank you, Ken. And we will hear from a few more friends today as we wind up our program. Mary Ellen Talley, you're next, followed by Giulio Magrini.
Hello, everyone. Sandy had suggested an anthology of chocolate a couple months ago, and an editor named Tim Saunders Editions picked it up, and it's already out. Anyway, I got my copy yesterday. It's called Ode to Chocolate, Poetry and Stories. And rather than read mine, I saw that David C. Brydges has something in here. So I will read his it's called Fais-le Paiser, for your pleasure. After all these years of carrying a sometimes dark secret, I must confess, What began as an affair is a long-term relationship. Feeling boxed in, I am trying to raise the bar of truth. When we first met, I thought you were a bit square, flat-chested for sure, and sometimes nutty. But it was your fine brown skin, your fine brown eyes, your fine brown hair. Our first kiss, when I melted into you, sealing this smitten obsession. That aromatic perfume was an intoxicating compass. I was able to find you even in a busy supermarket. Consumed with desire, I grabbed you and quickly fled outside to bite, lick, kiss your lips, and nibble on the corner of your neck. Anything to feed a mouth-watering rendezvous repeatedly. Alas, all relationships, bar none, have sweet and bittersweet moments. I have given you so many names over the years. You have appeared in so many disguises. I am finally unwrapping what I want to name you. The crown of my pleasure, my sweetheart. Treat my worldly chocolate queen. By David C. Brydges.
Fantastic. And the playfulness is so David, you know, the playfulness with the language is wonderful, Mary Ellen. Thank you so much. Okay. Giulio, Thomas, and Kerry are going to conclude for us today. Take it away, Giulio.
This is for a poem for David and everyone he knew. I'm sorry about my voice. I just got released from hospital yesterday. Recipe for the purest tear. Tracing a characterized miracle of vapors. Streams from a saline tear. A revered supernatural eye. We focus on silhouettes from a dark circus, shadowing the command of a confused ringmaster. Consecrated dampness descends to gift the world with melancholy, disguised currently as bewilderment and mutating release. A moist catalog of parameters for the civilized to common masses, not patrician others. The formula to dispatch a measure of folly, not a consignment of tragedy, presented to a remnant that anxiously breathes but staggers unreliably through time. It is the dowry of history we must endure, the products of our leavings and sobbing devastations of excess. We live with the largesse of explanation through restricted lamentations of creation, now strutting unsolicited as creatives through our days. And peace.
Wonderful, Giulio. Thank you so much, my friend. So good to have you with us.
Thank you.
And it may all go very well in your healing process.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Okay, let's hear from my dear Thomas, and our last reader will follow, Kerry.
Thank you, Kim. I just hid my poem. It's in honor of David. It's got some nature imagery and some playfulness and some railroad tracks. At the kitchen sink. Standing close, leaning over the kitchen sink, deep stainless steel silver, left hand full of asparagus stalks, the right
snaps stiff, drippy bases off under almost painfully cold water flow. Starlight in a steel bucket carried over snow at night. Cedar seams split after sunset under porch light with my green mall. Sounds of thumps and wood cracking open and shining. When up through the broken off asparagus ribs come the salmon and the bears and the tide pushing the river back up upon itself. And I am on the island again, wondering, oh, where has my fluff poppet got herself to now? And what's become of her? And also, what's become of the boy child who picked wild asparagus out somewhere past the silver railroad tracks that run to the sky?
Love those tracks that run to the sky, Thomas. Thank you so much. And we are coming to the end, folks. Let's hear from our new friend, Kerry. You're very welcome. And Julian was very gracious to give you his place today. Please share.
Just let me. Okay, thank you. I'm kind of a rhyming poet, so not always, but this poem in particular, it's called One Act Trilogy with Intermission. And Julian invited me, so it's so nice to be here. Thank you, everyone. It was great to listen. I want to taste your flower because I'm drunk. I want to drown in some deluxe junk. I want more than I need, but don't pin me down with your rumors of greed. I want to look right at the sun. I want to stand up on the shoulders of everyone. I want a new corruption that doesn't condone my half abduction. And if I can't have, spin a wild web that laces around these spiral scream wrists, perchance to dream of the ache of strucken ships that waver and twist like the tinge of your Aesop lips. I need a new way to pronounce the doubt, and I need to build a new road that smothers these westward glances blocking my way out. I need two dynasties that bear my fictional faces. I need a map that shows the helpless hunger between these newborn spaces. And if I can't have, divide these carnal catastrophes into unequal champions of my will and my won't, and clasp the corners of my closest chambers with their tired tempo against your tarnished tinfoil tantrums until you cringe under the metallic wonder of the echo of blood-red drums. I wish on every triple crown and trip on thorns that wish me down. I bury things that just won't drown, shackled to this cracked concrete, broken bone town where even the dead sleep above ground. I wish I slept inside your mad laughter, climbing the night trees as if it's the broken plate moon it's after. I wish I may go gracefully. I wish you may, I might fade into a play that pretends to tempest parade like an Arctic day all night. And if I can't have, banish the coils that call my ankles holy and lift the curtains that describe the color green to my thirst. So many villains reigning invisible in the mirror of prayers to these reeds in a river. The fingers throw away the last words you said, but fold them carefully first. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. I'm so glad you could join us today, and please come back. We're at the end of our time, folks, and I just want to thank everyone for being here to listen, being here to honor David, being here to share your amazing work. Coming up next week, we have a short break in programming, but we'll be back at the beginning of June for a wonderful themed open mic. Poets Focus Prayer featuring Donna Sprugitz-Metz and Laura Foley, and a themed open mic on that topic. And we hope to see you at many of our wonderful programs in June, including a doubleheader Pride Parade coming up at the end of June. So everyone be well, take very good care, and whatever you do, keep writing your miraculous poems. Peace, love, and poetry, everyone. Thank you for being here. Feel free